Sorry for the non-professional setup here, but we're just rolling off the cuff with my next project over here. So, needed something, not really needed, wanted something to kind of do a project off of. You know what? This thing was 650, and I could have just went straight for what I originally would say I wanted was the not Benelli, but the Beretta A300 Ultimate Patrol, I believe is the full name. But I found this to be more interesting. Straight up. That's all I got to say about it. It's not that I would have minded. Like, I don't like hunting stocks, traditional stocks. I would prefer to telescope in or at least some kind of modern, you know, almost AR pattern type of stock. But that wouldn't have stopped me from going for the Beretta, and especially after I got my 92. I felt more inclined to pick up the A300. But when I saw this was around and it came up on probably one of my Mr. Guns and Gear emails, that I was just like, first, I didn't know that the M4, at least the one that Panzer makes, was kind of gussied up, I guess, over the past year. But at the same time, I was also the opinion like, I kind of want, I don't want to necessarily call it a challenge, but I wanted something more interesting. Um, I like seeing the idea of companies that are trying harder in this space to kind of make a name for themselves or to have themselves be taken more seriously. Um, what Panzer is kind of doing, it makes me more reminiscent, being a car guy, of what's happened with Hyundai and Kia over the past couple of decades. How they really went from this brand that nobody would reasonably touch unless you just wanted to get something ultra cheap, knowing that it might not be the most reliable thing, but cheap enough that you can fix it up and just be on your way, just a straight up commuter car, A to B. And now they're, I won't call them luxury, but there's some luxury features that they have that are undercutting a lot of more, let's say, mainstream brands or um, longer known brands. And at least they have an incentive to like try to elevate themselves from where they were previously. That's kind of what makes me more interested in this model in general, just because this one being the M4 Speed Pro has a lot of extended features that would normally cost a lot more money, especially compared with the other shotgun I had in mind was the Arthros Arms. I want to say it's the S4. Um, Forgive me for not recalling the exact name for these things, but that should be close enough to know what I'm talking about here. Um, so at least somewhat, given that this kind of train of thought that like a relative, not to say that they're nobodies, they've been around for a while, but relative underdog, if you will, um, is trying to make a name for themselves or at least be taken seriously in the space, which I kind of appreciate that, at least have an understanding of it. Again, my car analogy runs back to why I even have a Ford right now. It's not that I have been a lifelong Ford fan. I am not. Like, I've always had imported cars, Japanese cars, but it gave incentive for like the kind of cars that I was buying was like Mazda rotary cars, the Speed 3, the SER Spec V, that was the Sentra that I had before, the Corolla XRS, like more sporty type compact cars. And I have a Focus ST that kind of runs along those same lines, but that one was the last model year I got was the 2018. That was when they got cut off from the US market. So for me, it was like, you know, at least the last attempt at that whole entry, or at least the latest attempt that was still like able to get modified to like a level above. And that's exactly what I've done with my car. And it's kind of the same idea that I got going on here with something that kind of like they put more effort into. But enough of me ranting about it. Sorry about the long intro. That's already been 5 minutes. I might put a timestamp just to say skip the 5 minutes for me to actually do the unboxing. So my apologies there. Let's get to it. Literally just came back from the FFO for this, and I did pick this one up from Palmetto State Armory. Now, one thing I will tell you right now, the box, as far as me keeping it, I'm not going to keep it. Why? Because it's trash, straight up. I'm not even sure this is like really a fault of Panzer itself or them trying to, cut a little corner here. But even for cardboard, this thing got beat up. I got a pretty big gash over here, like a bulge from the inside. And then even the back got cracked right over here. Excuse the glare. Just from the drive home. So it was just like, whoa. Kind of appreciate they went a little bit above and beyond when it came to like, let's say the logo and stuff and all the writing. But pretty much the only part I'm going to keep is right there. That's it. But the box got to go. So first things first, let's get the knickknacks out the way. So this should be, go ahead and take a look there. I believe these are going to be the chokes since the M4 clone. And yes, here it is. I'm not going to be experimenting with that too much, just because I don't plan on using this for self-defense, really. I got a couple other, I prefer pump shotguns myself, just for that for sure reliability. Now, when it comes to actually running the action, no, I don't think those would be faster from the pump to the semi. Don't get that twisted, but at least for my first shot, for sure, the pump will get it through at the very least. And hopefully that one stop average that usually is a standard for shotguns will come through should I ever need it. But this is more of a, okay, I got way too many guns that I can't even say which ones are really for self-defense because I could pick through a lot. So they're pretty much all for fun. Only a few I would give up to say like, oh, in the name of self-defense, this one is gonna be it. Maybe my Zero Delta might be one of them. I would say for sure self-defense. My Mossberg, the 590 Shockwave, probably for sure. I would actually buy that one all over again. No changes, just do the same modifications that I did before. Everything through and through. This, not so much. But let me keep going. So this should be my invoice here. Again, you got the full thing over here as far as the description. M4 clone, Speed Pro Tactical, semi-auto, 5 rounds. I believe you could get the extended tube separately to push it up to 7. The thing that ATF hates. Shotguns with 7 in the tube. Oh my. All right, so should be the last thing over here. And you already see that this thing ripped in half right over here at the box. It's trash. Hate to keep saying it, but it looks like we just got an owner manual just straight up for M4s in general. Probably just going through more of the breakdown. Congratulations, thank you. About care and maintenance, and in general, probably not on screen, off screen. I will break this down completely to look for what people have said of looking for burr marks, for imperfections, try to smooth it out with a file or sandpaper, whatever I could get on my hands on with some grit around the house if I need to smooth over anything, and at least taking care of the grease that comes with it naturally, and putting my own lubricant on it, which more than likely, just given the fact that it's besides the gas system, which needs to be clean of anything, but everything else is probably going to be, I'm probably going to try to run my Uel, my EWL, the Slip 2000. And it's going through Um, the things that you should know for handling a firearm, your safety rules, how to properly load it, unload it, and parts list here. And this should be, yeah, the disassembly over here, especially with the choke key. So I did show you that. So that's actually closer to the end for the entire breakdown, but it really is, shouldn't be difficult by any stretch of the imagination. So if you wanted to take a quick look there, I might put another timestamp in case you just want to look at that and you maybe never got your owner's manual or to some degree like that. So let's look at the gun finally. You know what? I should forget it. That box is gone. All right. So minus the safety blocks here, which is cool. It's actually pretty good that they covered it up. Maybe they knew the whole time that the box was not it. So we got a ported barrel. We have, I guess we should call these ghost ring sights, if I'm guessing correctly. This may be considered an extension, but it still is 5+1. I believe you have to do something with it to get the extension. I mean, besides taking off, I'm not sure if it's just a swap or something internal that you could change it. But either way, you have some Picatinny section over here from left to right. You got a sling mount, and already this is loose. So I don't think this is supposed to be this loose. I might take that off entirely because the way that I plan on mounting my sling, it's a 2-to-1 sling, and I won't be using this in general. So this is already something that needs to be looked at. Probably just needs to be torqued down. You have your M-lock handguard, which I plan on putting, let me let you get a closer look at these things. But at least for the handguard, I do plan on putting, have a, not vertical, a horizontal hand stop on it. And then, oh, I did not know that it still came with the speed loader. So that's a pretty good little feature there. Actually, is it called a speed loader? Maybe your emergency round? Either way, I didn't know that this was included with this particular model. I thought it was just with the speed, not with the Pro. But either way, pretty good. The molding on the grip feels really good immediately. It's really sticky right now. No diddy. Hopefully not. But it feels good. The rubber feels good. And so it already held back. That's good. Gates locked. You have an orange follower over here. It's already on fire. Or at least you can see the orange there. So safety was off. So must mean that somebody must have at least test fired it, which I actually appreciate that. And I hate to drop this on empty, but there we go. I just walked it in. So I do like this extended handle here. I'm trying to see if I could immediately immediately cause a lock back. There we go. So it was the tab over here. Same one that's usually used on the 870 series, the small tab that appears at the bottom here that you use to manually cycle for a pump shotgun that will lock the bolt back on a semi-auto. So it's good to have that familiarity. And even the push button feels 870 inspired as well. So this kind of feels right at home. And then I'm just looking at the stock a little bit more here. But this steel section here for the QD is what I'm planning on using for my the sling attachment. I actually have all the accessories right over there on the side. So actually what I also plan on doing is actually moving the charging handle to my left side because I am actually left-handed. So I'll probably do that off screen as well and mess around with the stock a little bit too, but let's just get an impression over here. Sights up pretty good. So that checks out. It says 12 gauge, 3-inch out of Redmond, Washington. So immediately feels comfortable. I like it. Okay, that overhand function. That's what happens when you watch too many John Wick movies. I'm calling myself John Wick. I know it's John Wick. I'm just playing. But so far, decent. The only real hiccup right now is just that looseness in the handle there. I mean, not handle, the sling mount. But so far, okay. But let me go ahead and pause. I'll come right back after I finish adjusting things and adding the accessories and just to give a look-see on how everything kind of turns out. All right, be right back. All right, sorry for the jump cut there, but I just wanted to show you the tooling marks that are here and kind of some detail behind it. So here it is. Let me bring it closer. There you go. So you got quite a bit of tooling marks over here. Let me give you a different angle. And this is to be expected, to be honest. I mean, overall, is it going to affect the function of it? I don't think so. Sorry for my shoddy camera work there. But the main thing I wanted to highlight was actually on the inside here. And really, things are looking okay on the inside. And that was really where my main concern was if I needed to smooth things out there. I mean, there probably is a few things to just clean out, possibly. I'm wiping everything down, so taking a little bit of time. I did make some, how can I put it, attachments here. So at least on this side of things, I just finished cleaning the bolt, but I went ahead and put the SLX red dot on it, switched out the carry handle on this side, or the charging handle on this side, on the left side, and added my 2-point sling, or 2-to-1 sling from Magpul. So I'll reassemble everything. I got my light on here too. So the only thing I'm waiting on right now, not for a full curation, but I went ahead and I didn't have any shims available, so neither here nor there. But what I did do for that loose sling mount over here, straight up red Loctite. That's just how it is. It's not going to come off of rotating it or anything like that. So I figured just make it as secure as possible with the Loctite and, just let it be. But everything else with it looks fine. But when I restart the video, it should be fully assembled and I'll give you a closer look. Again, part of my camera work, but I'll give you a closer look at everything once it's completely reassembled. And I'll be back. Thanks. Okay. So, wrapping up, I promise. So I just reassembled everything. One quick thing I wanted to note, just on a personal level, I don't have sponsors or anything like that, not even close to that level. I did at one time have an extended back and forth conversation with a representative for Panzer Arms, and that mostly came about when the first nickel finish M4s came around. This was almost exactly a year ago, but approximately sometime between, or let's just say winter of 2023 or the beginning of 2023, we had some communication on the YouTube channel and stuff like that. I can't find the exact videos from which we did have those conversations. My apologies. I did try going back and looking exactly what was stated and what kind of things that, let's say, the Panzer Arms was representative was stating to come in the future, like for now. But just wanted to give a full disclosure on that pretty much. So after my breakdown and a little bit of talk about like the tooling on the barrel and things like that, I will say I'm looking at the excuse me, looking at the gas system. That looked remarkably clean. And of course, it's a self cleaning system, but I still wanted to look into it. Very good. Um, there was a lot of excess grease. I did wipe that off. It came across almost like gun oil, but it was thicker velocity. So no, not velocity, viscosity, whatever the V word is. You know what it is. It was thicker. Got that out. Just wiped it down with a towel I had over there. Um, Really, the only major issues that I have is that, at least when it comes to the fitment for mine, was the barrel here. I did make a couple of scuff marks over here, like, and there's a matching one on the other side, just like that. So when you are reassembling the barrel, I will let you know that right now that you need to, at least in my case, crank the barrel. So which way am I cranking here? So to the right. So grab the top, crank to the right, and then slide it in. If you try to slide it straight back, you're going to get those gnash marks between the, I guess, the front of the bolt or the bolt head um, against the end of the barrel. And then even when you mate them together, until you actually start racking the slide, it will not fully seat with the barrel. So that was another thing. Once you push the barrel back, there will be a little bit of a gap that you will see that will be like a little silver gap here, like an opening. But once you rack with the charging handle, again, I switched sides on it. So once you rack it, it will mate together and then give you that flush fit that you're used to seeing there. So that being said, what else did I notice? I did go ahead and lube up with the Slip 2000 on the bolt. So you could go ahead and give a listen. So it sounds smooth, but is it as smooth as it sounds? Yes. So these improvements that they made, which I believe specifically is to the speed model with the cutout and the lightened bolt, I think feels really good. Even on, as a casual user as myself, I'm not doing any competitions or anything remotely close to this, but again, it's very smooth. I have no issues of thinking that this will properly cycle. So that being said, when it comes to switching out the or switching sides with the charging handle, you do have to give it a little bit of twist for it to feel like firm, almost like a lockup. Because once you twist past that, it gets loose, and that's where you're able to take it out and to switch sides. So you have to go right to the point of there's resistance, and it'll kind of like give you like a little bit of a like a bounce back effect or like a rubber band effect. So once you get to that point of resistance, it should be good. I did go ahead and put on the sling. I did not change the height for the cheek piece after I got my red dot on. So I left those things alone. I'm leaving the ghost sights alone. Let's see here. I did put in my charging handle. One thing to note that, at least with the charging handle, when I did have it on its most back position for me, I was making contact with the speed loader. Forgive me for the exact term, but I was making hand contact with the piece over here. So that part I wasn't too keen on, and I try putting as far forward as I can. I started touching on the plate here that's loose, and again, I'm just gonna Loctite that, and then I settled for keeping it not even in the middle position, but closer to the front, but sliding it back, if that makes sense. So I went to the furthest M-lock slot, and instead of keeping it forward, I just pushed it back a little bit and then locked it in from there. That being said, with my M-lock attachments, you cannot shine a light. You cannot visibly see your M-lock attachments from any part of the handguard that I could notice, at least. So like when you look around it, there's almost like a shroud that's right over here on the thicker side that would be very visible if that part was, let's say, thinner or cut out or angled differently. But basically, you have to remove the whole handguard for you to see if your M-lock attachments were secure. So that's a bit annoying. I'm lucky that I got it right the first time around, but I went ahead and redid it to get it like exactly vertical. It was a little bit off kilter, whatever. It was just off by a little bit. I straightened that out, but again, I had to remove the whole handguard in order to check that. That was a bit annoying, I will say, but that feels more of a first world complaint. Your call. Just at least make you aware of it. So that being said, after I did reattach things here, here's the light. Here's a little bit of an impression there. So I am getting, of course, the shadow. But as far as my controls go, I'm able to reach everything just fine. And then my constant on from there. So even though it's set up sideways, the good part about that is that particularly with my latch that I have on my light, I'm able to fully open it and service it. So I don't need to take the whole unit off to service for the batteries. So that part feels nice. The placement, I don't want to say ergonomics, because I still have to go hands off in order to reach it, or at least I can push out with my thumb a little bit because I have larger hands, but not while I'm holding it. So just be aware of that. I would need to come at least hands off and just switch it on and then just hold it from there. So the momentary would be me reaching out for it a long way. So just something to keep in mind if you plan on running like a pressure mount or a switch, a pressure switch, not the other switch, but a pressure switch, that your cable management, that's up to you, but you should be able to reach from there. At least take advantage of more of the M-lock slots for it. And again, back to that handguard thing, I think it would be probably easier, at least if I was using the other M-lock attachments for, like, let's say if I wanted to put some covers on it, rail covers. I'm not going to do that just because I know the gas system is right behind it over here. I don't want to compromise it in any way. So that's why I only settled for the hand stop down here. And hopefully that'll keep me from reaching all the way around to touching the barrel whenever I start running it, to that effect. So the last thing I was just going to mention, well, actually, before then, I do like the way that the trigger guard is shaped, and I probably should ghost the trigger a bit for you. So this is probably something I should have done earlier, so excuse me on that. So, and of course, we're empty. So let's see here. So So there's the take up, but it breaks fairly quick. Okay. So there goes the reset. Short. Let me just cruise right through. Break. Okay. So as long as you're like ignoring that it's not an AR trigger, if you just go right through, it does feel fairly light. So let me go ahead and grab a gauge real quick just to give first impression. 1 sec. Okay, so I did grab the Lyman mechanical trigger gauge. So let's take a quick look here. So that first one came out to 6.5, which is fairly high. But let's go ahead and just give 3 pulls just to see where we end up at. This time I'll try to be more mindful about where I'm placing it. That one came out to 7 pounds. And last one. Excuse me, slipped off a little bit there. Okay. You know, I'm trying to get it closer to the bottom just to give a reasonable shot at this. So, excuse me, bumbling a bit over here. And they came out to 6 3/4. So, if you want to say 6.75, that works too. So, at least between my 3 pulls, it's been 6 through 7. Of course, it'll get lighter on breaking, I'm sure. But, I mean, as far as I'm concerned right now, that might have been me just fussing around with the safety first. So, but that being said, it's heavier. The pull is, or at least it feels lighter than what the pull is telling me. That's what I'm trying to say. Excuse me. So yeah. So it definitely feels lighter for sure. Yeah, I'm really trying not to treat it like it's an AR. Yeah, it feels a lot lighter on the break, but that's mostly also me kind of ignoring it, that I'm just going straight through and just pressing with like authority. So like I'm not even like trying to I guess be gentle, so to speak. Either way, that's just extra information for you. Let me go ahead and show you how I'm set up with my 1-point sling. Or at least I should say the 2-to-1. So I haven't made any adjustments. This is just straight out the box. So, or at least just straight up me just wearing it. And technically, yes, it is out the box. So no adjustments as of yet. So right now, this is where it's sitting. So let me go ahead and get a little bit closer there. So this is where I'm at so far. I mean, I could easily make this adjustment over here. At least I should be able to easily make it. So I might need to go two hands to make this adjustment. Hang on a sec. Okay, just made that load adjustment, so here I am with it adjusted. I could bring it up a little bit higher here. So there you go. This is about probably what I would say is ideal for me. So just to give you kind of a profile look here. So I probably will make a few more kind of minor touches as far as how it hangs and how I have it slung on myself. But so far, this is where we're at. Just in case, if you do want to know, there is another attachment right up here. So instead of going with the singular sling setup, I could go 2-point here and just take a look and see how it kind of feels. So I will have to make another adjustment, but here's it at complete 2-point, which, I mean, feels okay, but honestly, I actually prefer that 1-point. Just because I'm able to just maneuver it around, and I can see myself, if I needed to run with this, I at least hold it with on the side, and if not, kind of rotate it over here. So, but I am a right-hand shooter, so I would keep my sidearm on my right side. So at least being able to sling this over to the left pretty easily on a 1-point setup and freeing your hands is, feels pretty nice to me. So I really have no real complaints about that. I just went ahead and adjusted it a little bit, but that should kind of tell you kind of the ease of which, the versatility of this thing a little bit, at least under this setup, that it feels pretty good. But of course, probably best just to keep it front and center, like so. So, and overall, I did not pull up the weight for the M4 here, but it is heavy. I'll say that. Just know that going in, it feels heavy, it feels substantial, but I do like it. Now, all my friends that told me by my demeanor that I'm probably an M4 owner, and on a technical space, I did just prove them right. Now, a couple things I will say as caveats. If you don't trust this rifle, you don't trust shotgun, I don't blame you. Reliability reports have been completely hit and miss on the overall Panzer M4. That is not why I bought this. I do believe that a lot of those failures have been caused by people purposely not using high-powered ammunition and going through the entire breaking process, which I believe is maybe 200, 250. It might be in the owner's manual. It might be as high as 500. I don't know exactly, but I do know that basically with semi-autos, they just prefer high-powered ammunition. So as far as my kind of run-ins will go with it, I have at least 400 high-power slugs that should make it cycle just fine. Then I have some more buckshot, and I don't plan on running burst shot through this at all, regardless if it's high power or not. I'm pretty much going to make this almost exclusively a slug gun, just because I know I'll get that power output from it, and that's just what it needs. It's just a simple matter of fact. So this is something that I just wanted to scratch off my bucket list from what I wanted. And have I gone for the Benelli or the the Benelli M4 or the Beretta 1301 or for the Ultima Patrol, the A300? Yes, I do feel like ultimately you would get more quality out of those guns, more so than this. But given the fact that I had my own minor like hiccups here, at least as far as like the finish, um, me scraping it up, me kind of beating it up a bit. There were some abrasions on the handguard too that I should have mentioned that went right out the box, but they were kind of um, like little gnashes. I'm not sure you're going to be able to see it well off of here, but there's a little bit of like almost like not real scratches, but like indents, so to speak. Let me try to point it out directly here, but it's almost seen but not felt up here at the top. So it might not focus for you to see it, unfortunately. So my apologies there. But you'll see it easily in person if you ever did try to pick up one of these models. Again, the Sport Tactical, or excuse me, the Speed Pro Tactical. Now, would I buy this particular one again? Yes. Why do I say yes? Because I still think it's a proper clone. That being said, given all the scuffs that I've personally made on it, I would have gone for the nickel version. Just because at least it would have stayed silver from all the major abrasions that I've been making to this all black model. But that I wasn't really ready to pay an extra $50 just for a color option. And these were going out of sale pretty quick, at least when I did pick this one up and I looked back later in the week, let's say within 5 days, it was sold out. So I was like, okay, I just wanted to get my hands on one. I feel like that it was still like kind of taken care of from a QC perspective, as far as like making sure there was like no major issues or no major, how can I say, blemishes. The tooling, that's up to you, whether that counts as blemishes or not. Not to me, because I know that it's a mass produced. So granted, I'm not, a high count shooter. At least I'm not going to go through a burn down. So I can forgive things like that. As far as like overall fit and finish, I still think this is assembled pretty well. Maybe the instructions would have went into more detail when it came to the reassembly, at least for getting the barrel mated with the bolt, but we was able to figure it out. I think that's all I got right now. Sound off. Shouldn't have done it. Turcanellis are like the bane of James Reeves. At least I didn't call him Jason. So, like I said, given all the features that this has, I feel like this is like properly set up out the gate for someone that doesn't want to make any major modifications. And reliability aside, I think this is a really compelling option as far as value. And it feels great to me. I have no problem with the stock sights. Had no problem really attaching anything, which was only, 4 things in total. But I think it fits me. Sound off. Say whatever you need to say. Talk crap about Turkey. Don't bring up Armenia. But, keep it chill. It's casual shots. All right, later.